Kind of watch channel on YouTube. Here is the man who vanished testing time travel. Now this sounds good because I'm into all of this and UFOs and etc. etc. Let's do this.
I moved from Tokyo to Manchester and discovered British families are being legally robbed every single month. My name is
Back to the Future. Could it actually happen with a real time machine?
A man who vanished after building a functional time machine in his garage has finally returned 29 years later with a story that defies every law of science. Mike Markham was just 21 years old when he started playing with high voltage reality, and his disappearance in 1997 became the ultimate cold case. Now, in 2022, he is back, but he is not the same man who left. He speaks of a desynchronization from time itself, a state where he can see us, but we cannot truly remember him. It is a mystery that changes everything. Eternal unmemory paradox. 29 years is a long time to be gone, especially when the last place anyone saw you was inside a ring of fire and humming electricity. In 2022, a startling discovery at an old farmhouse in Ohio reignited a mystery that started in a humble Missouri garage back in 1995. Andrew and Melanie Carter were cleaning out a property they had just purchased when they found a heavy metal box tucked behind a false wall in the basement. Inside were journals belonging to a man named Mike Markham, a name that had not been whispered in decades. This is a key detail because the journals were not just old accounts of a hobbyist. They were filled with scientific notations and personal entries dated as recently as 2021. Basically, this should not be possible for a man who officially ceased to exist in 1997. The journals describe a state of being that Markham calls unmemory, where a person becomes so desynchronized from the standard flow of time that they become invisible to the collective consciousness of society. It is not that he was literally invisible, but rather that the human brain could not hold on to the thought of him for more than a few minutes. This is a terrifying concept, hands down, suggesting that time travel does not just move you through space, but can actually delete your identity from the universe. Everyone is obsessed with where he went, but the real mystery is why the world's records of him have started to simply disappear. See, the journals mention that he spent those 29 years in a state of constant flux, watching the world change from the shadows while unable to interact with it in a meaningful way. He describes seeing the rise of the internet, the fall of towers, and the changing of seasons, all while being a ghost in the machine. It is not that simple, though, as he claims he was not just observing but actively trying to fix the hole in reality he created. The crazy part is that his return coincided with the total erasure of his legal records, social security numbers, birth certificates, and even old-school photos of him have reportedly vanished from digital and physical archives. Many rumors are still in the air, but what many can confirm is that the handwriting in the 2022 journals perfectly matches the letters Markham sent to radio hosts in the 90s. He speaks of a coldness that follows him, a literal drop in temperature of 10 degrees, 5.5 degrees Celsius, whenever he enters a room. This physical anomaly is a byproduct of his body being slightly out of phase with the current timeline. People who claim to have met him since his return say his voice sounds like it is coming from miles, kilometers away, even when he is standing right in front of them. It is an unsettling reality for a man who just wanted to see what the future looked like. For starters, the journals found in Ohio contained nearly 800 pages of dense calculations. These papers were covered in diagrams of electromagnetic rings and notes about something called the Dirac Sea. Markham believed that if he could pump enough electricity into a localized space, the weight of the energy would rip a hole in the fabric of space-time. He was not looking for a fancy car or blue box. He wanted to build a portal in his backyard. And that is putting it lightly. The neighborhood in Missouri where he lived still reports strange occurrences, like watches stopping at exactly the same time every night, or radios picking up broadcasts from the 1920s. What most people do not realize is that Mike was not just a lucky amateur. He had a deep, almost obsessive understanding of how high-voltage electricity interacts with the vacuum of space. His early experiments involved small metal objects like washers and screws, Or he would place them in the center of his homemade electrical coil and watch as they vanished for seconds at a time. When they reappeared, they were often covered in a strange, oily frost that would melt into nothing within minutes. One journal entry from 1996 describes a mouse that was accidentally caught in the field. The animal survived the trip, but it stopped eating and stared at the corner of its cage until it passed away 3 days later. It was as if the mouse had seen something that made the physical world feel irrelevant. This is a key detail because it shows the mental toll that time travel takes on a biological mind. Markham knew the risks, but he felt he had no choice but to continue. He felt the government was closing in on his work and that his time in this reality was running out. His obsession drove him to make a choice that changed everything. Dangerous reality disruption. To understand the return, we have to go back to where it all began in 1995. Mike Markham was a 21-year-old electronics enthusiast living in a small town in Missouri. He was not a trained physicist, but he had a natural talent for manipulating electricity that bordered on the supernatural. For starters, his garage was a graveyard of old televisions, radio parts, and copper wire. He spent his nights building what he called a Jacob's ladder, which is a device that creates continuous spark electricity between two V-shaped rods. But Markham was not satisfied with just making sparks. He wanted to see if he could create a localized field that would disrupt the very nature of matter. And get this, he actually succeeded in making small objects vanish. He told listeners on the Art Bell radio show that he threw a metal washer into the electrical arc, and it simply did not hit the floor. It reappeared a few seconds later, several feet away, covered in a strange, oily residue and feeling ice cold to the touch. This was the first hint that his experiments were doing more than just moving things through space. He noted that the objects seemed to lose their history, becoming slightly different versions of themselves upon their return. What most people do not realize is that these early tests were already damaging the local timeline in his neighborhood. His dog refused to enter the garage, and his neighbors complained of a constant humming sound that made their teeth ache. Markham did not care about the side effects because he was obsessed with the idea of a hole in reality. He believed that if he could just put enough power into the system, he could step through that hole himself. So, he started looking for more juice. He knew that his home's electrical panel could not provide the thousands of ohms he needed for a human-sized field. This led him to the local power substation, where he saw 6 massive industrial transformers that looked like the key to his destiny. Nobody expected this to happen.
Most people who pass away in their sleep experience 3 innocent symptoms that they ignore until...
Nobody expected this to happen, but in the summer of 1995, the entire county went dark. Markham had successfully stolen the transformers, using a makeshift crane and a stolen truck, causing a massive blackout that lasted for 2 days. When the police finally caught up with him, they found the transformers sitting in his yard, wired into a machine that looked like something out of a science fiction movie. He spent 60 days in jail for the theft, but even behind bars, he did not stop. He filled notebooks with diagrams and equations, convinced that his arrest was just a temporary setback on the path to greatness. The power he unleashed that night left a permanent scar on the local electrical grid. Transformers like the ones he stole can weigh up to 500 pounds, 226 kilograms each, making the theft a feat of incredible physical and technical will. He was working with voltages high enough to vaporize a human being instantly. During his time in jail, Markham claimed to have had visions of a future where the sky was a different color and the cities were built of light. He believed the electricity had opened his mind to other frequencies of existence. He told a cellmate that he was not just building a machine, he was building a rescue ship to take him away from a world he no longer understood. When he was released, he was a changed man. He no longer cared about money or fame, he only cared about the vortex. He began scavenging for more copper, eventually collecting over 3,000 feet 914 meter of heavy gauge wire. He wound this wire into a massive solenoid that stood 6 feet, 1.8 meters. The sheer scale of the project was mind-blowing for a single person working in a residential garage. Every time he turned it on,
the streetlights for 3 blocks would dim, and the air would smell like ozone and burnt hair. He was pushing the limits of physics until the universe finally pushed back. Gone without a trace. After his release from jail, Markham was more determined than ever, but he was also becoming paranoid. He told Art Bell during his final radio call in February of 1996 that he felt like he was being watched. He claimed that men in dark suits were parked at the end of his driveway and that his phone lines were being tapped. Despite the fear, his work continued in secret. He had acquired new, legal transformers and was building a massive ring of copper wire that took up nearly the entire floor of his garage. He called it the Markham Vortex. He told Bell that during a test run, he experienced time dilation. He said that he stepped into the field for what felt like 10 seconds, but when he stepped out, his clock showed that 20 minutes had passed. This is a key detail because it proved that he was not just moving things, he was actually changing the speed at which he moved through life. He described the air inside the vortex as feeling thick, like moving through water, and said the light turned a deep shade of violet. It is not that simple, though, because the physical toll on his body was starting to show. He lost 30 pounds, 0.6 kill him in a month, and his hair began to turn white at the temples, even though he was only 22 years old. By March of 1997, Markham was ready for his final experiment. He told a few close friends that he was going to attempt a jump of 30 years into the future. He wanted to see if the world would be better, or if he would find a way to fix the mistakes of his past. On the night of March 13, 1997, a massive surge of energy was detected by the local power company, but by the time they traced it to his address, the garage was already engulfed in flames. When the fire department finally put out the blaze, they found something that did not make sense. The copper ring had melted into a perfect circle on the concrete floor, but there was no sign of a body. There were no human remains, and no evidence that anyone had been inside during the fire. However, the heat had been so intense that it had vaporized the glass in the windows and fused the metal tools to the workbench. The only thing left untouched was a small scrap of paper on the driveway that said, "It is not about time, it is about how you see things." This note became the cornerstone of the legend, sparking decades of theories about where Mike Markham had gone. The fire did not just destroy the garage, it erased the man from the present day. For 25 years, investigators treated it as a missing persons case, but they could never find a single trace of him. No one saw him leave the property, and no hospitals reported anyone with severe electrical burns. It was as if he had simply been blinked out of existence. His bank accounts remained untouched and his car was still parked in the driveway, covered in ash. The crazy part is that within 5 years of the fire, the city records of the house itself began to glitch. People trying to buy the property found that the deed appeared to be signed by someone who never existed. The neighbors moved away, claiming the ground felt unstable, like walking on a bridge that was about to collapse. Everyone is obsessed with the idea that he survived the fire, but for a long time there was absolutely no proof. The legend grew on the internet, with people claiming to see him in old photographs from the 1920s or in the background of news reports from the future. The silence lasted for nearly 3 decades until a basement wall in Ohio was torn down. Silent return warning. The discovery of the metal box in 2022 changed everything. Inside that box, Andrew and Melanie Carter found more than just journals. They found a collection of items that should not exist together. There was a Missouri driver's license from 1996, a newspaper from 1934, and a strange glowing crystal that pulsed with a soft blue light. But the journals were the true prize. They were written in a frantic, hurried script that seemed to evolve as the pages went on. The later entries, dated from 2020 to 2021, spoke of the immense difficulty of being heard. Markham wrote that he had returned to our timeline, but he was stuck in the unmemory. He described standing in a crowded grocery store and screaming at the top of his lungs, only for people to walk right through the space he occupied. He was not a ghost, but his presence was being filtered out by the universe's self-correcting mechanisms. This is a key detail because it explains why he did not just go to the police or the news. He could not. He wrote that the more he tried to interact with the world, the more the world pushed him away. He spent months living in abandoned buildings, eating scraps, and watching the news to keep track of the date. He was horrified to see that he had missed nearly 30 years of human history. He saw the rise of smartphones, the global pandemic, and the transition to a digital world he barely understood. And get this, he claims that the time machine he built was not a machine at all, but a way to tune the human body to a different frequency of reality. He warns that once you change your frequency, you can never truly come back to the original station. The journals ended with a final entry dated December 21st, 2021. It said, "I am going to try to ground myself one last time. If you find this, I am either home or I am gone for good." The Carters tried to track down the man who left the box, but every lead turned into a dead end. They went to the authorities, but the police told them that there was no record of a Mike Markham ever being missing in Missouri. The local news archives they searched had no mention of the 1997 fire. It was as if the unmemory had finally completed its work, deleting the very event that started the mystery. The crazy part is that Melanie Carter began to notice her own memories of finding the box were starting to fade. She had to record herself on her phone just to remember what she had seen. This is a terrifying insight into how the timeline repairs itself. It does not just remove the person. It removes the impact they had on everyone else.
I moved from Tokyo to Manchester and discovered British families are being legally robbed every single month.
One else. If Markham is truly back, he is living in the cracks of our world, a shadow that we see out of the corner of our eye but can never quite focus on. He is the man who returned, but he is also the man who never was. There are still many rumors on the air about his whereabouts, but some believe he has finally found a way to stabilize his presence. The price of knowing the future is that you can no longer belong to the present. Reality correction. In the end, we are left
with more questions that
answers about the fate of Mike Markham. Was
he a brilliant inventor who truly cracked the code of time? Or was he a troubled young man who got lost in his own obsession? The evidence from the Ohio farmhouse suggests something far more complex than a simple disappearance. If the journals are real, we have to accept that our understanding of time and memory is fundamentally flawed. Physics tells us that forward time travel is possible through relativity, especially if you move at incredible speeds, but the kind of jump Markham attempted violates almost every law we know. What most people do not realize is that the universe might have its own immune system. When someone like Mike tries to rewrite the rules, the universe treats them like a virus and tries to eliminate the infection. The unmemory effect is the ultimate cosmic correction. It is the silent deletion of a life that was never supposed to leave its designated track. See, the thing is, if this can happen to one man in a garage, who is to say it has not happened to others? How many people have disappeared from our lives, not because they ran away, but because the timeline simply decided they were no longer necessary? It is a thought that keeps you up at night, hands down. We want to believe that our existence is solid and permanent, but the story of the Missouri time traveler suggests we are all just data in a very fragile system. The legend of Mike Markham will continue to haunt the fringes of the internet and late-night radio, a cautionary tale for anyone who thinks they can outrun the clock. So, here is the deal. Some of the wilder theories suggest that Mike did not just travel through time, but that he actually accidentally merged with his future self. This would create a massive chronological paradox that the universe could only solve by deleting both versions of him from the public record. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that your childhood photos are blank, and your parents do not recognize your voice on the phone. That is the reality Mike allegedly faced. Basically, he became a living ghost, walking through a world that was being scrubbed clean of his footprints in real time, and that is putting it lightly. Some researchers think
a blue crystal found in the box was actually
the piece of stabilized exotic matter, a battery from a future that should not exist. If that crystal was pulsing, it means the machine in his garage was still technically running, just on a frequency we can no longer perceive. This would mean that the fire in 1997 was not an accident, but a desperate attempt by a future version of Mike to stop himself from ever starting the experiment. But here is the catch. The more he tried to stop the past, the more the timeline fractured. Every time he went back to warn his younger self, he created a new branch of reality. And now we are living in the one where he succeeded in vanishing, but failed to stay gone. There are still many rumors on the air about his whereabouts, but the craziest part is the possibility that he is not even human anymore. Some suggest the high-voltage exposure rearranged his atomic structure, making him more like a radio signal than a flesh and blood man. This would explain why he can only be remembered through digital recordings or notes, but never through direct human contact. It is not that simple, though, because if he is a signal, he can be intercepted. There are whispers that a certain government agency has been tracking a specific electrical hum that moves across the country, appearing in places where time seems to slow down. They call it the Markham frequency. What most people do not realize is that Mike might have seen the end of the world and is trying to find a way to warn us without being deleted by the correction. The journals found in 2022 are now locked away in a private collection, and the farmhouse has been sold again. The blue light from the crystal has supposedly faded to a dull gray, and the notes are becoming harder to read every day. It seems the universe is still working on the final edit of Mike Markham's life. We are just lucky we were able to catch a glimpse of the story before it was gone for good. Nobody expected this to happen, but the man who built a time machine has taught us that the most valuable thing we have is the present moment. Once you lose your place in time, you lose your place in the world. And that is a price no one should be willing to pay. The hum of the Transformers may have stopped, but the echo of his warning still lingers in the air for those who know where to listen. We are all moving through time at the same speed, 1 second per second, and maybe that is exactly the way it should be. If we ever truly crack the secret to the fourth dimension, we might find that there is nowhere left to hide from our own mistakes. Some say that Mike is actually the one who founded the mysterious groups that now monitor these anomalies, a man destined to protect a timeline he can no longer be a part of. It is a lonely, eternal watch. Think about it. A man who gave up his name and his face just to make sure the sun keeps rising exactly when it is supposed to. That is the ultimate sacrifice, hands down. The mystery remains, a silent reminder of the boundaries we were never meant to cross. As we sit here in 2026, we have to wonder if the people we see every day are even the same ones we knew yesterday. If the timeline can be edited, then memory is our only weapon against the void. Mike Markham tried to beat the system, and the system won, but his story serves as a beacon for anyone who thinks they can play with the fundamental laws of existence. See, the crazy part is that while you are watching this, a small part of your own history might be fading away right now. Did you really have that old toy? Was that teacher's name actually what you remember? In a world where Mike Markham exists, nothing is ever truly set in stone. Is the universe actively erasing people who try to change the past? Tell us if you believe Mike Markham's return is real or a clever hoax.
Make sure to like and subscribe for
mysteries.
So if you want to make a remote income from home,
Did you see that thing?
Someone's over there. Someone's legit.
On October 30th, 2025, the Paranormal Discovery Team returned to the dark outskirts of Massachusetts, entering the areas of
Toby-Hoboth and Freetown State Forest, within the notorious Bridgewater Triangle, a region known for strange legends and unexplained activity.
Lomar and Steve planned another night off the grid, not in search of trouble, yet something lurking in the woods seemed aware of their presence from the moment they arrived.
We're back in the Freetown State Forest. Yeah, I'm actually back back here because last night I encountered something like beyond strange. It was weird to me. It caused me pure fear. But the reason why I'm back here today is because I woke up, I'm like, tonight's a filming day, and if it's a filming day, what can I do to be proactive of the case that I experienced last night? I heard this weird residual, like almost satanic, but it was some sort of ritualistic, satanic scream. Thought I saw someone. Yeah, like I'm not joking, a murder scream. It was weird. I was kind of thinking, like, could it have been a residual, like, satanic from someone actually passed? And then I heard it in a residual way. I couldn't tell you. But since I am in the area right now, I think I'm gonna walk down it now that I have daylight. So I literally walk down here alone in the middle of the night. Where I am right now is smack dab in the Freetown State Forest. A lot of sketchy people. Hello? Somebody need help? Call out! Someone hurt? Nothing now.
He starts the day alone in Freetown, following the same path to where he had heard a disturbingly human scream the night before, calling out in case someone needed help, but the forest remains silent. Hours later, he reunites with Steve, and together they make their way toward Rehoboth.
Dude, it's coming from that way.
Are you sure? I think it's coming that way. That's it.
Either way, what the hell is that? Like, actually, it's kind of...
It doesn't sound like a dog.
No.
Oh, okay, now it's behind you.
They camp in a remote area where a fast-moving, bark-like growl circles their camp, making the presence feel threatening and unseen.
I heard something. Why does it feel like we're being watched?
Yeah. It's like... it's everywhere.
They turned to the spirit box for clarity, but instead it spat out disturbing words. Gruesome hung Peter, along with an unsettling reference to the 1950s. Before they could make sense of the message, the fully charged flashlight in his hand suddenly died, which they took as a chilling sign that something unseen had drained its energy.
Okay. Turn off. Okay. What just happened?
Dude, there's someone at our campsite. Well, not even kidding. I saw like a shadow move.
Are you serious?
I think it's by the table.
I'm going to show you the exact 5 steps to check your old car finance agreements. It takes about a minute. And if you're like me, you don't keep your old car finance paperwork.
Don't move.
Are you serious?
I think it's by the table. As my eyes are playing tricks on me, but probably somewhere in the car.
Oh my god.
Hello? We know you're in there.
We're gonna use them if we need to. We have to come out. We mean no harm. We find it kind of weird that you're hanging around.
This is our campsite. I literally saw you go inside a tent. I'm gonna give you the count of 10 to get out. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Dude, our stuff, dude! Oh no.
I didn't actually see nothing.
Oh, wait. Walk. Oh! Dude, Steve's literally leaving right now. No way! Oh! Come on! 1. Oh. What's going on? What's that? Someone's over there. Someone's legit. Someone's actually there. Or that was like spiritual. I don't even know at this point. But somebody. What is that? All of our stuff is legit still there. I think I actually see someone still moving over there. Oh my God.
When they returned to camp, a dark silhouette stood motionless beside their table until the camera turned toward it, then suddenly slipped into their shelter, causing chaos before something bolted into the darkness. Even after it vanished, movement was still visible nearby, leaving the camp in uneasy silence. Viewers later debated the sounds and sightings, with some saying the growls resembled dogman howls, others claiming multiple figures near the trees, and several reporting their Spirit Talker apps echoed phrases like forest and you are trespassing. With no known predators in that area of Rehoboth, and two shapes appearing when only one was seen, it remains unclear what was following them through the woods. MKP Studios is run by Casey, an explorer known for venturing deep into remote wilderness in search of the unexplained. On this day, he entered the storm-soaked forests of Washington state, an area long tied to disappearances and strange voices said to surface during bad weather. The hike felt uneasy but manageable. Heavy rain, strips of caution tape tangled in trees, and odd items scattered along a creek raised questions, but nothing felt truly dangerous. That changed the moment he stepped into a narrow valley when a sudden, piercing cry cut through the storm.
You know, they might like it and looking through the stuff, but I will be telling them not to follow me.
That was like really loud and really close.
The moment left Casey with a chilling realization he wasn't alone. The growls were too close and too deep to match anything he recognized. He had planned to camp overnight, but the storm and those blood-curdling sounds decided for him. This wasn't a night to stay. By the time he reached the road, the adrenaline had faded, but the questions hadn't. Sounds like that linger, echoing long after the woods disappear in the rearview mirror. The creepy footage comes from Dr. Hannah Straight, who headed out alone into a remote stretch of wilderness, miles away from any real civilization. Locals had whispered about odd things happening out there, but almost no one had actually seen anything for themselves. What started as a calm, uneventful night quickly turned into one of the most disturbing moments she's ever experienced. It was November 4th, 2020, and she had settled in above her truck's cab, completely unaware that something strange and genuinely terrifying was about to happen.
Still waiting around. Haven't seen or heard anything. It's getting kind of late.
For about 2 minutes, Dr. Hannah didn't move, just watching the dark woods. She heard a small noise outside that sounded like something moving. The quiet felt heavier by the second, until a sudden sound made it clear that something was out there.
Did you see that thing? I wonder if the outside camera got it. I don't know what that thing was, but that was insane. I've never seen anything like that creature before. It's just ripping through the woods. It is terrifying, and I need to get out of here right now. I gotta go. This is insane. I gotta shut this off.
All of a sudden, a large upright figure ran between the trees, tearing through the woods with incredible speed and force. It disappeared into the darkness before she could fully process what she had seen. Shaken by the terrifying events of the night, she decided to leave immediately. My backyard birding is known for calm, relaxing nature clips, but this day was different. In the Great Smoky Mountains, with the sun still high, an unsettling sound echoed through the forest, instantly disrupting the peace.
If it is invalid, we promise a tenfold refund. This denture can be successfully worn in just 1 second and is suitable for everyone.
At first, it sounded mechanical, like distant machinery, but that made no sense. There was nothing nearby that could explain it. Then the sound changed. The mechanical tone deepened and slowly took on a strange, almost vocal quality. What once sounded like metal began to feel alive, like something trying to imitate it. Hearing something so unnatural in broad daylight made it even more unsettling. The Smoky Mountains are full of familiar sounds, birds, insects, wind, but this was none of them. Some believe it was an animal pushed to an extreme. Others suggest a rare acoustic echo, and some think the Smokies may still hold sounds we haven't yet identified. So, what do you hear? Jaime set off in his van for adventure, this time heading somewhere completely new. After hours on the road, he finally found a spot that seemed perfect, until he noticed a sign saying overnight camping wasn't allowed.
Bugger. Now what? Right, I think I'll go and have a look at where I was gonna park up, and I'll see if I'm gonna risk it or not. Well, that is the kissing bench, and that sign there says no fires, no camping, no overnight stays. And where I was gonna stop is basically just behind that sign. So I think that buggers that, which is a shame, because if you look out over there, look at that for a view.
He went further into the woods, came across another open spot, and decided to take his chances.
I don't know what the hell's going on tonight. All sorts of weird singing going on in those woods. I think I'm gonna cook my tea and
At first, there were just soft sounds, but they slowly grew louder. The forest was foggy, quiet, and felt strangely empty. Except for the wildlife he could hear moving somewhere beyond the tree line. Curiosity got the better of him, so he grabbed his torch and went to check it out.
I really don't know whether this is a good idea, but perhaps I'll go over there with the light off. I've had a second thought. I don't know whether I really want to know what's going on in there. I think I'll go back to the van. It's bloody weird here, I tell you. Bloody freezing.
But the farther he went into the darkness, the stronger that uneasy feeling became, like something was lurking just beyond the edge of the light. He didn't get very far before deciding to turn back. Later, once he was settled inside the van, a light appeared from the same stretch of woods where the noises had come from.
Just got out of the van to have a piss. There's a light in the bloody woods now. I'll tell you what. This.
That was enough for Jamie. He shut off the camera, started the van, and left right away. Deep in Russia's western Saiyan mountains, Sergei was an experienced hunter used to isolation, danger, and surviving in one of the harshest wilderness regions on Earth. He often spent weeks alone in the forest, living off the land, and this time he was tracking a massive Manchurian wapiti. After days of preparation, he climbed into a tree one night and waited as the forest settled into its usual nighttime calm. Then, without warning, a sharp, unnatural metallic sound drifted through the trees and stopped him cold. Shaken, Sergei gave up the hunt and climbed down, heading back toward camp. But the moment his boots touched the forest floor, strange new sounds began to emerge.
Вот. Пошли. Ноги, блядь. Так, рюкзак собираем. Растаскивай головешки. Тихо. Заливай. Заливай, блядь. Тихо. Давай, не ссы. Быстрее, блядь.
Realizing the danger was getting worse, Sergei climbed into another tree, using height as his only defense. Moments later, everything escalated. A sudden gunshot echoed through the forest, followed by a scream so sharp and unnatural he later struggled to describe it. The noise cut off suddenly, leaving the woods silent for about an hour. When the sounds came back, they were louder, more aggressive, and far more threatening.
О-о-о. Ты чё, блядь? Давай, блядь. Быстрее, нахуй.
With no alternatives left, Sergei quickly built a makeshift shelter and fired into the darkness whenever the sounds closed in. Each shot gave him only brief relief before the noises came back, moving around him with unsettling intent. In the end, the forest went quiet, and only the cold wind stirred the branches. By morning, Sergei found signs he hadn't been alone, including old cut trees and an abandoned camp. After the footage surfaced, people debated what it was. Some said a skinwalker, while others believed it was Bigfoot, but no explanation was ever confirmed. This footage comes from Kent Survival, a UK-based YouTube channel run by Andy. His content combines bushcraft, wild camping, and outdoor survival with adventure storytelling, often set in forests, castles, and other historic locations. On April 12, 2023, Andy set out on a stealth wild camp inside the ruins of a medieval castle in the UK. He planned to stay concealed through the night, sleeping within the centuries-old stone walls until morning.
A little bit of a hill to climb up to get in here. It is the Surrey Hills after all. Not too far from an airport as well, so there's a lot of airplanes going over. Now I'm on the lake side of the castle. Just one, well, derelict wall between us and obviously the hillside. There's less activity there than there is over on the golf course where they're teeing off just over there. Yeah, I don't think there's anyone fishing right now, which is quite cool. I'm in the spot I wanted to.
Before nightfall, Andy searched the ruins for a place to settle in. The grounds felt atmospheric yet unsettling, with dark tunnels and crumbling chambers stretching around him. To avoid attention, he waited to unpack until nearby golfers had moved on. Even while studying old graffiti carved into the stone, the heavy silence of the ruins left him uneasy.
Flattish, a bit lumpy. The only thing is having this eerie tunnel behind me. It goes deeper than I just came as well, and it looks like it's been used for storage, for pipes and stuff, for doing the fields and that. But yeah, it's going to be creepy later.
Andy set up his bivvy near the entrance of a tunnel. The location made sense, but behind him, the passage opened into a dark, hollow void. He admitted it would feel unsettling after nightfall, knowing every sound would carry through the tunnel.
What I'm worried is that up by the fence on the golf course side is a gate. I didn't notice it before. I could use that rather than climbing in, but it is open, so I'm wondering if there's some kind of night watchman or something that might lock it up. Don't know if it's worth them doing that, so hopefully not. And I'll have to keep the lights to a minimum. I'm going to try and film this robin. Nope, gone. Well, I've just been caught by some dogs. The guy come over, asked me what I was doing. Just said photography, which is true. So, we'll see. They know I'm here, or someone does. Maybe they're just walking the dogs past, but...
After dark, Andy's stealth was broken when a man and his dogs wandered into the castle grounds. When asked why he was there, Andy said he was taking photos. The encounter ended without trouble, but the secrecy of the camp was already compromised.
Up here in the dungeon, I've not heard anything for a little while. But the light's more concealed in here, so I'm not setting up camp just yet. There's a couple of ghosts in this castle. One of them being a big black dog that roams around. I've not seen him yet. And the other is the Wandering Man. Apparently the Wandering Man was killed by the Lord of the Manor, and it turned out to be his son. And he's been wandering, feeling guilty ever since. There's weird noises in here, and a light in my face. I think when I set up camp, I'm just going to get straight in the bivvy. That might diffuse the light a little bit. Oh, that's bright. Hey, it's about 3:30 in the morning. Sorry I didn't get much footage. I was just a bit worried about having the light on really, so I've done most things no light whatsoever. But yeah, I'm reasonably sure no one's going to see me now. Woke up for a pee, and yeah, I'm just going to try and get a couple of hours sleep. Well, it gets light a bit later now, so yeah. And I'll see you guys in the morning. Oh god. It's about 5 or just past now. I'm not sleeping well at all. And spits and spats
I guess it's that knowledge of knowing someone knows where you are or suspects. Plus, there's a lot of rustling and it ain't squirrels. So we've got rats in the dungeon.
Later, Andy retreated into the dungeon to hide his light while mentioning local legends said to haunt the ruins. Sudden noises echoed off the stone walls, followed by a beam of light aimed straight at him. He quickly shut off his torch and pulled into his bivvy as rats moved nearby. By dawn, he was exhausted and unsettled. No ghost appeared, but the close calls, strange sounds, and dungeon setting made it one of his most unnerving stealth camps. The footage comes from Dan Ventures Outdoors, a UK-based wild camping and adventure channel. Dan documents solo and group trips across the British countryside, from forest bivvies and moorland hikes to riverside overnighters, mixing humor and campfire calm with moments that can turn unsettling. Filmed on September 22nd, 2025, somewhere deep in the UK woodlands, Dan and a friend set up camp for what should be an easy night out. Good food, laughter, and a warm fire until the forest begins to feel different.
Someone keeps whistling. We've got the air rifle ready. But someone keeps whistling. See if I can catch it on camera.
I've got a good shot.
They're not whistling now, I don't know where they've gone.
The night starts with relaxed chatter and steaks sizzling over the fire. The woods feel calm and alive until a faint whistle drifts through the trees. At first, it sounds distant, almost playful. Then the pitch twists and shifts direction before stopping. The laughter dies out, even the insects fall silent. It's a small sound, but it changes everything, making the fire's warmth feel thin against the dark.
Sounds like someone or something walking around. Hello? Hello? I don't know. Just had a quick look. I'm not getting out. It might just be like an animal or something. Can't hear anything now. But it sounded like human footsteps.
Have you been injured due to a slip, trip, or fall in the last 3 years? If the answer is yes, then you need to keep watching this video. If you suffered from an injury that wasn't your fault, you could be owed thousands of pounds in compensation. It takes just 30 seconds to see if you've got a claim. And if after that you'd like to start, all our claims are on a risk-free, no-win, no-fee basis. So you've got nothing to lose. Whatever the injury, click below and answer a few simple questions to get started.
It all started with the question, can we make a typical Fjällräven backpack really light?
We had this idea of making a backpack as lightweight as possible with the characteristics and DNA from the original Kaika. We have been doing carrying systems for trekking backpacks since this company started. This one has been tested and refined into each and every millimeter.
We made 6 or 7 prototypes in the workshop. It's been sewn and re-sewn a lot of times to gain knowledge for future prototypes.
We realized like we have something here.
The scale has been our best friend throughout this process because with a smaller, neater, lighter, tighter backpack, you can feel more free in the mountains.
In many ways, the Kaika X-Let is like a cover of a good song, and the cover is just better than the original.
Mental. I'm just gonna chill. See if it comes back. See if I can hear anything. I'll bring you back if I hear anything. Or anything happens.
Much later, Dan speaks quietly to the camera, shaken, as measured footsteps move around the camp just outside the light. He calls out, but is met with nothing but an oppressive silence. By morning, with rain falling, he tries to rationalize it, yet the recording makes the footsteps sound clearly human. In daylight, the woods appear normal again, but the footage reveals how fast the atmosphere can change. Chris Baird is well known for exploring strange and unsettling places, sharing eerie encounters on his YouTube channel, but nothing compared to the night he spent in a remote forest said to be haunted, an experience that would challenge everything he believed about the supernatural. What began as an exciting overnight stay in an abandoned cabin quickly turned disturbing. As Chris and his friend Jasko moved deeper into the thick woods, the atmosphere grew heavier with each step. The silence was unnerving. No animal sounds, no movement, nothing at all. It felt like the forest itself had gone completely still.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're in a haunted forest again. Now, Jazz and I are on a road trip, so it's only right that we start this video off exactly how it's supposed to go. We're supposed to split up right now, and yeah, I'm just gonna get rolling here because it's the right thing to do, right? Haunted forest. It's creepy. It's wild. It's weird being by yourself. Now, as you guys can tell, this is heavily populated. This forest apparently has a lot of trails all the way throughout. I guess people come here in the daytime, snowshoe, all that fun stuff, but I'm not going to be doing any of that tonight. We're strictly here for the paranormal. I'm actually getting necrometer out right now. Sound on, sounds off. And let's see if we can get some ghosts to talk to us tonight. So we are running. We're rolling, you guys. My name is Chris. What the hell? The camera's froze. It says there. The camera's literally froze right now. What the heck? It won't do anything.
When they reached the cabin, it was old, decaying, and abandoned for years, yet it carried an unsettling presence. The broken windows and crumbling walls made it feel like a place time had completely forgotten.
I say it all the time, but like, imagine you encountered me and Chris in the wild, and you noticed us literally like just talking to the air. You would think we're insane if you didn't know what we were at.
What the hell was that? Is it in the bathroom?
I definitely flushed.
That's the door?
This is the second time that's happened.
Oh, jeez, that scared me. My light turned on up there. I don't see, bro, there's no way. The thing is, like, where this cabin is, like, there are other buildings around, but no one is here in the wintertime. This is like a location that I don't even know why people aren't here, because it's a beautiful location. But
it's just borderline. inaccessible. Like
yeah, the snow. There's like 3-4 feet of snow in some places. So
A loud bang hit the cabin, followed by footsteps moving closer. The air turned cold and heavy. The hallway was empty, and a faint whisper confirmed something was inside.
That shower curtain? Did you hear?
That was 100%. Hold on.
What's going on? I know that was. I understand that was a fridge, but that sounded like a shower curtain before that. Hello? All right, I have to check and see if the shower curtain was like closed, because it is definitely like.
Hold on,
pulled
there's
back.
2 bathrooms though.
There's 2 bathrooms.
One right here.
That door's not even open.
Oh.
Doesn't have a shower curtain? I didn't mean to talk to you, but like you were in here earlier doing Bloody Mary, which I probably won't do. But like, what happened when you were in here? Because I freaked out because your flashlight fell off the table.
Yes. So I was standing right here, doors closed. You were standing right out there, and it sounded like a massive thud came from the other side of the house, where like the living room is.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's where we were getting a lot of problems with like the television turning on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Kind of straight.
It is
Like that?
just like that, yeah.
I have a still camera set up out there. I haven't talked about it with you guys. It's literally sitting right there facing that room. I don't even want to go out there because I just want to like. I mean, I'll look quick, but.
Even as the fear continued to build, they stayed, hoping to document what was happening. They set up their cameras, convinced something was there. As the night dragged on, things got worse. Objects seemed to move on their own. Shadows flickered along the walls, and the whispering grew clearer, though the words couldn't be understood. Every few minutes came another sound, a knock, a creak, movement from another room. Then, at the peak of the chaos, a door that had stayed shut all night slowly creaked open on its own. That was more than enough.
If you want to make a full-time income from home working part-time, you need to know this one concept, because there is a new and better way to make money in UK real estate.
Phenomenal information. Mind-blowing, to be honest.
And you never put money down, you never get credit checked, and you don't need any prior experience or qualifications in order to start doing this on the side. In fact, you could run this from your kitchen on the evenings and weekends, or you could take your laptop and run it from a coffee shop like I do if you like, because you never visit any of these houses to flip them. And it's a simple formula, and to give an example of one of my students, Ed. Ed lives in Italy, Rome, and he flips houses for £3,000 to £5,000 per flip in the northeast of England, and he never puts his own money down, and he never gets any loans, so he doesn't need any credit checks. All he uses is a laptop and an internet connection. And it's not just him. I've been teaching for a decade now, over the last 10 years, and here's some of my top students. We've rented mansions in Spain, and I've taught this for a long time. And we've been flipping houses remotely for the last decade, quietly just getting on and doing it. And one of my top students, Gavin, he was struggling in the golf industry. He was about to be fired in his job. He was making roughly about £3,000 a month. And he stumbled across this opportunity. He acted on it, and it's completely changed his life. Listen to what Gavin had to say.
And I know what you're all going to be thinking, like I did. I don't know if this is going to work. You know, should I do it? I'm telling you now, you just got to go for it. Go for it, don't look back. Study, you know, if you do what they say, it will work. I've got 4 in escrow going through this month.
It's flipping houses online, where you just need a laptop and an internet connection to begin this. And you don't need money down, you don't need any credit checks or loans, and you don't need any starter qualifications or degrees.
A door that had stayed shut all night slowly creaked open on its own. That was more than enough.
Who did I just see in the kitchen? It was a child size, bro. Ethan, are you a child?
Without hesitating, they grabbed their gear and left. The hike back through the woods was just as disturbing as the time spent in the cabin. When they finally reached their vehicle, the weight of what they'd experienced truly set in.
Which makes me think the house might be down here, honestly.
I mean, it's supposed to be a pretty large house. Now, they say that rituals were done in this house. They say that...
Oh. Can you knock on a tree for us or make a noise so we know you're here? I'm asking for Justin or whatever is communicating with us, please. It's like tapping.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I'm gonna give you this. Let's trade off. Because as soon as I grab this, it just doesn't say anything. So I'm gonna grab the camera.
Okay, bro.
I'll let you go in front of me if you don't mind.
Sure.
I'll let you run the lead for a little bit.
Hello, spirits.
It just got really quiet, so I'm not sure what's going on, but. This woods is so dense, it's so crazy. Trees everywhere, but it also looks like there'd be room for a freaking house, possibly. Oh my god, I keep falling through.
I mean, according to the map, they don't have like pinpoint coordinates, but it's like somewhere in this general area, what
Yep.
someone said. So we've just been looking.
Okay, cool.
So we've just been looking, but like no luck so far.
Zero. Absolutely zero luck. Are we getting closer to the house? Are we going in the right direction? You guys let us know.
Justin is wandering.
Justin is wandering. Justin, where are you?
Can Justin come closer? Come say hi?
All right, that's weird. Something walked through there.
Yeah, some large.
Recently.
Elapsed. Time has elapsed.
Okay. Hello. Bro, I'm just. Oh my.
Chance that
Hello?
falls sometime soon.
Yeah. Okay, well, I was just about to say that. I swear to God, you guys, if I have the footage from earlier when I was walking by myself, what'd be the craziest video I've ever captured in my whole entire life? The noises I was hearing, the things that were happening around me. Makes me think my camera probably wasn't recording because it was so crazy, but...
Chris, who had always viewed the paranormal with some skepticism, began questioning everything. Was it just an overactive imagination shaped by the eerie setting, or had they truly encountered something unexplainable?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Someone behind us?
You know what's really funny?
What's that?
I just pulled out the maps. Hello, is anyone down there?
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's a yes.
Yeah. Can you show yourself for us? Show some skin.
Justin?
Oh.
Those behind you.
God.
Those behind you.
Can you keep walking, please?
All right, you pick where we're going next. What's the next course of action, Chris?
I say we just try to walk a little farther forward and just see if we see the house. And if we don't, I say we turn around.
Sure.
I don't know that it's here. Like, I don't know if we're in the right part.
Viewers of the video came up with their own explanations. Some believed the cabin was home to spirits that refused to move on, while others suspected something darker was at play. A few even suggested there may have been a real person hiding in the shadows, waiting for the right moment. Even skeptics who don't believe in ghosts couldn't ignore the genuine fear captured on camera. Whether supernatural or not, what happened that night left a lasting impression and served as a reminder that sometimes it's best to walk away. Leslie Mansfield, an outdoor enthusiast, shared a video on February 2nd, 2025, describing her solo camping trip in an unfamiliar area. What started as a calm night under the stars quickly turned unsettling, forcing her to leave the campsite and look for safety. She arrived later than planned, with dusk already setting in. After parking in a secluded spot, she made her way toward where she planned to camp. Along the way, she noticed warning signs about diseased trees and closure tape, suggesting the area was mostly empty, aside from a few other adventurers who, like her, had chosen to ignore the warnings.
Bridleway diversion route. Well, I'm not on a horse, so am I allowed? Bridleway closed. We're felling the diseased and ash trees along this bridleway. Oh my goodness, I've only just come here once. I just need to just skirt around the edge of this. That means I'll be all alone, except if other naughty people who are willing to go through tape come down here.
She set up camp in a remote spot, but the isolation quickly became unsettling. When she saw a figure below with a flashlight turned toward her tent, fear took over. She switched off her light, grabbed her essentials, abandoned the tent, and fled into the trees.
Not very flattering, is it? Oh my god. Better put my hat on.
People keep asking if this is a scam, so I'm going to prove it's not with actual science. My name is Hiroshi Tanaka, and over the past few months, hundreds of thousands of British people have watched my videos about how power companies charge you for electricity you don't use. I've received thousands of messages, some people thanking me for saving them money, some people asking how the device works, and yes, some people calling me a scammer. So let me address everything right now with actual science. No tricks, no sales pitch, just facts. First, let me show you what dirty electricity actually is. I have a power meter here, the same one Japanese inspectors use. When I plug it into a normal British socket, watch this number. See that? That's reactive power. In Japanese, we call it muda denryoku, wasted electricity. Your home creates this every time you use anything with a motor. Your refrigerator creates it, your washing machine creates it, your air conditioning creates it, even your phone charger creates small amounts. This power flows back and forth through your wires. It does nothing useful. But older electricity meters, they can't tell the difference. They count reactive power exactly the same as real power. Japanese power companies discovered this problem in the 1950s. That's why in 1958, the government passed a law. Every home must have a power factor correction device. The power company installs it for free. It's been this way for over 60 years. British homes don't have this. Nobody told you about it. The power companies certainly didn't tell you because they make billions from it every year. So how does OptiWatt actually work? Inside this device are capacitors. When dirty electricity flows through your home, the capacitors absorb it. They store it temporarily, then release it back into your system as usable power. Your meter only sees the clean power, the power you actually used. Nothing illegal about it. It's basic electrical engineering. They teach this in first-year university courses. Let me show you real results from real people. This is Linda, my neighbor in Manchester. I've shown her bill before, but look at this. January, £389. February, after installing OptiWatt, £67. March, £54. April, £48. Her bills have stayed low for 8 months now. This is Tom Wilson from London. He was skeptical. He's an electrician. Actually, he said he would test it properly. Here's his message to me. Hiroshi, I have to apologize. I thought this was nonsense. My bill went from 427 to 71. I've ordered 3 more for my family. This is Maria Garcia. She's a nurse at Leeds General Hospital, works 12-hour shifts, comes home to a freezing flat because she couldn't afford heating. First month with OptiWatt, she saved £340. She sent me a photo of her daughter getting braces. She said she'd been saving for 2 years. OptiWatt made it possible in 2 months. Now let me address the scam accusations. If this was a scam, would I show you exactly how the technology works? Would I give you a 180-day guarantee? Would Japanese homes really have this installed by law? You can look this up yourself. Search Japanese Power Factor Correction Law, 1958.
Oh my god. Better put my hat on. Don't know if you can see that, but there's somebody walking down the bottom of the valley there with a torch. I'm sure they're fine and innocent, but I've turned all my lights off until they've walked by. That person with the torch going along, I was about to set the camera up and I was about to say, oh, I'm on a hilltop and I can see they're about to leave the valley, so that's good. But they didn't. They came back and sort of towards the tent, and I just thought, oh, the camera, in fact the camera is what I was worried about. First time I've used this, Insta360, my first ever camera. It's funny how I was packing that, wanting to make sure that was okay. And my hip belt I wear, so it's got my mobile and keys, so I just got my rucksack on and left the tent and hid down in the trees to make sure they went, because I also wanted to check what they were doing rather than just, you know, me leaving. And eventually they left. I don't know, I was spooked by then. So I found a different spot. I'll show you this spot, just about 10 minutes around the corner, but it's a different valley, so what's the chances they're not going to come?
Leslie stayed hidden until she was sure the person was gone. Even though she could have returned to her tent, she no longer felt safe, so she moved to a nearby spot out of sight. As she settled in, the adrenaline eased, and the clear sky revealed bright planets overhead, helping her stay calm. Still, the new spot was uneven and uncomfortable, making it hard to rest and keeping her uneasy.
Well, what's it to do? I'm 10 minutes away, but I feel safe because it's just a different tucked away corner. I'm just looking down on the ridgeway. I don't know, I didn't want to give up. I didn't want to go back to the car and give up. I know that everyone says, oh, follow your instincts and do that. When I saw this, I thought, no, I'm going to be here, at least for the evening. I think it's so rough and bumpy here, I'm not sure I can sleep. So I'm going to have dinner, practice with the camera, and see how I feel when it comes to bedtime. Okay, I'll get the food on. I've just been looking outside the tent, and I'm not going to leave just yet because it is a special night, really. You've heard about the planets being all in a line, but the three I can see, Venus, the evening stars, so bright over there. Just up ahead is Jupiter and Mars, which I've never really known about before, but Mars, it's so red. That's over in the east. So I feel safe and secure to stay now that I've seen those planets and had a little drinky. But I'm in an incredibly difficult pitch. It's completely lumpy and sideways. I just didn't want to go back to the car, so I was all stubborn, but it's awful.
These dentures fit your teeth perfectly, easily solving all your dental problems. I've been using these dentures for over 10 years without any damage, and they're still perfectly functional. Simply soak them in hot water to activate the flexible adhesive. Gently bite down to fit the shape of your mouth, and you'll have a brand new set of dentures. They look so realistic that your friends will think you've had implants. They don't irritate your mouth, providing a stable and natural wearing experience. They're even better than dentures made by your dentist, and you can install them yourself at home. Say goodbye to expensive orthodontic treatment and implants. These invisible dentures solve all your problems. You can enjoy your food freely. Confidently show off your charming, soft silicone dentures. They fit any tooth shape perfectly, and are painless and comfortable to wear. They allow you to express your emotions naturally, and long-term wear can gradually improve your dental arch structure, correct tooth alignment, and harmonize your teeth. They also help reduce snoring and relieve tension, made of antibacterial silicone. They can withstand decades of normal use and won't yellow, discolor, or develop an odor, even if you occasionally don't clean them for a month. If you're not satisfied, you can return them immediately. It's incredibly convenient and won't disrupt your daily life after installation. You can enjoy your meals to your heart's content without any problems. It's super durable and won't shift. Most importantly, it's extremely comfortable. There's no foreign body sensation. It feels almost like a real tooth. Utilizing the latest German technology, it automatically conforms to the contours of your teeth. Wearing it is worry-free. It won't loosen even when eating hard foods. Whether the food is sweet, sour, bitter, or spicy, it won't cause toothache. Suitable for all ages. Buy now and enjoy the lowest price for antibacterial materials. If you're not satisfied, we'll give you a full refund. The first 100 buyers will enjoy a 7-day money-back guarantee.
Don't you just hate it when you've got random pensions floating around and zero clue what's going on with any of them? Yup, this was me, guilty. I had a couple of old pensions from my past jobs. And guess what? I had different providers, different logins, different passwords, random bits of paperwork. It was literally all a big mess. Then I found PensionBee, and I'm not joking. They made it so easy. I just signed up, gave them a few details, and boom, they were able to combine my old pensions together for me. Now I've got everything in one place, on my phone, no stress, no endless paperwork, and no more hunting for passwords. I literally feel lighter, and I've gone from confused and overwhelmed to confident and in control. When your pension's in a good place, you're in a good place too. Combine now with PensionBee.